Hi, my name is Sean and welcome back to the chaos that is Shiny and Books. If you see me looking the exact same in a number of videos, no you didn't, but filming is hard and I have a little bit of time while Keen is napping now. Usually I'd be reading, but I'm going to quickly try and pump out some videos. So this is going to be my January TBR, which I was not going to do a TBR because I had pulled out like 30 different books that I wanted to read in the beginning of the year. So I'm like, I'll just pick from those. I don't need to make a TBR. And then I read my first book of the year and then I just absolutely overwhelmed and stumped and couldn't figure out what to pick next. So I have now decided that yes, I will be continuing to do TBRs using my TBR game that I had been doing, which is 10 Pin Bowling chooses my TBR. I can link previous ones for you, but it's a very simple concept. I put a prompt on the top of each of 10 pins, bowl a ball. Whatever pins get knocked down, that is a prompt that I have to find a book to match with. Because I have realized that I am definitely not a mood reader. I need structure and I need to know what I'm going to pick up next. And the prompts help me to complete that structure. So I've already completed this, like I just said, but my first book of the year was On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. So I read this and then I was like, I have no idea what to read next. And here we are. So I already filmed the part where I picked out the prompts and knocked them down. So I'll insert that footage. I did have to rewrite all of the prompts onto little pieces of paper because I don't have them anymore. So I picked out Protagonist in Their 20s, a book that starts with the word the, or the, a book a friend hated, a book with an orange cover, a Protagonist in Their 30s, which is annoying that I got both of these ones that are so similar, but whatever, a hardcover, a book, a backlist book, a book with a red cover, a book set in another country, and a male author. So those are the 10 prompts. If you have fun prompts, please let me know. Message me on Instagram or leave them in the comments because I wrote a bunch out, but I feel like they're all so similar, so I need to put in some fresh ones. Anyway, I'll now insert the footage of me trying to bowl them down. I did have my toddler assist me with this, so I also bowled them down using a toy orange, I think it was. I feel like I use a different ball every time, but it's just whatever we can find in this household. So the 4 prompts that got knocked down were hardcover, backlist, starts with the, and male author. So I then picked some books to read using those prompts. So for my hardcover book, I have chosen Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I did read one chapter of this in December, but it's a pretty long book, so I ended up pushing it back to this year, and I have seen it pop up in a lot of people's favorites lists so far, so I'm very excited to get to it. I am annoyed that I have the hardcover though. Probably part of the reason why I'm using it for this prompt. I'm a bit salty because the paperback in Australia is like reflective, which is kind of cool. So I kind of hope I love this so that I can get a second copy, because I'm not buying a second copy of a book that I don't enjoy. Don't know a huge deal about this other than it is something to do with gaming, which is exciting. But yeah, it's a chunky one and I think this is what I'm going to start reading today now that I'm finished my other current read, if I get time to read today because I'm using my reading time to film. Anyway, moving on. My backlist book is going to be Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have loved the cult classic TJR books, Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones, but I've not read all of her backlist. I've read Forever Interrupted and what's that other one? I don't have a hard copy of it. Does it not even say? Oh, I've read One True Loves. So I need to read this one, and after I do, and then I need to read her new books obviously. But I think this one is like multiple timelines. Yeah, one choice, 2 different paths with stunningly different results. So it's, I guess, going back and forth, I think, between 2 ways that the girl's life could have gone depending on which choice she takes, something like that. I don't know, but it's Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'm sure it's going to be good because everyone loves her. Next up, the book starts with the I don't know how to even say that word. I'm going with The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This one is again another very popular series. I did read the first 2 books in this series years ago when they were first coming out, and so I had been putting off this one because I wanted to reread them, but to be honest I'm just going to read this now because they're companions, so I don't think it needs to be super fresh in my mind what happened in the first 2 books. I think it's just following characters that appear in those books, so I think I should be fine to just read this one on its own without the reread. But I'm hoping that I love this one the most. I think I gave the other 2 like a 3 or 4 star, I can't remember, maybe 4 stars. So I'm hoping that this one is a 5-star read for me, and I have high hopes, but I'm not putting on too much pressure. After all, it is a romance book in a romance series. I have enjoyed a few romance books lately, so maybe I'm in my romance era. And then the last prompt that I had was a male author, so for this one I'm choosing Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. I assume is a male author because Caleb is a male name generally. Okay, the author bit uses his and he, so I'm going to say male. And this one is a very short book, which I am very excited to read because I feel like I've seen good things about it. But there we go. Those are the 4 books that are on my official January TBR, plus the one book that I've already read this year. I'm hoping that I'm going to read more than just these 5, but at least this is now giving me a guide of where to go to start the year off, because apparently I need structure. I have learned a lot about my brain, and I think that means that TBR videos are going to be continuing throughout the year, because getting the prompts to choose my reading is very helpful for structuring out what I want to read. But yes, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully I will have time to pump out a couple more videos before my son wakes up. Let me know what you're reading in January. I mean, January's already started, so maybe just let me know what your first read of the year is or was, depending on if you finished it or not. And thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.